Hello, I'm Zach Stone with Wellborn Cabinet. I'd like to thank you for watching our webinar today on the topic of making your kitchen and bath business virtually amazing. Brought to you today by Chip Wade of WadeWorks Creative. We know that your time is valuable. We appreciate you taking the time from your schedule to watch our webinar, and we hope that you learn and grow from the information that's presented. Since we know that you do value your time, this webinar will be on demand. So if you have to get up, if you have to leave during the webinar, you will get a link sent to you later after the webinar is done to all the registered attendees. There'll also be some Q&A time after the webinar is over. So please hang tight right after the webinar is done. Chip will be answering some questions, and he may be addressing some of the questions during the webinar if they apply to the subject that he's talking to. So at this time, we're excited to turn it over to Chip, and looking forward to his discussion today.
Hey everybody, I'm Chip Wade. I'm super excited to be here today. I've been talking with so many folks over the last several weeks. Obviously, we're all going through a time of I think kind of inquisition. We're kind of it kind of finally hit me working and with being with my family every single day, which is awesome. But we all kind of have our own challenges, and I would say about 3 or 4 days ago, it finally just was like, I'm really ready for some things to start to transition. My business, I own WadeWorks Creative, which is an architecture and design firm, but it's also an interactive production company. And we work with tons of different brands on creating assets to tell the purchasing story to consumers. And this is a really, I think, opportunistic time to take a different look at how we interact with our customers from the confines of working from home or from an office virtually. I know that most of the folks that are joining us today are likely kitchen and bath type showrooms, or I don't know, maybe you're a designer. I can certainly relate to what you guys are experiencing right now. I work with a lot of folks that are in the plumbing industry, that are in the cabinetry industry, and others as well, lighting, flooring. I do a tremendous amount of work in these different categories. So if you guys have any questions as we get started, or even any time throughout, feel free to just type it right in the chat feature. I'll be answering some of those live time right as we go, if they fit in. And then again, at the end, in about a half an hour or so, we'll be doing a Q&A as well. So today, I'm going to tell you guys a little bit about how we approach virtual interaction with our clients that I think would be relevant to you guys, and something that you guys can take a few items away from this and really be able to experience better relationship, better conversion, all while you're sitting from your home office or from your showroom where maybe the traffic is a little bit limited. So that's really great. I'm going to talk about a lot of the challenges I think that we're all facing. Hopefully you guys can relate to this. And of course, if you guys have particular situations that you guys are experiencing, voice those. I'm sure if you have a question, some other folks do as well. We're definitely, hey Caleb, thanks for the question you're asking. Is this going to be useful information if we're not working from home or still in the office in the field? Absolutely. To that particular point, Caleb, my business, even though right now we're all kind of doing things a little bit differently, I have been working in a virtual or a remote scenario for the past 4+ years, and I did it before it was necessary. And there's some things, that's I think some of the nuggets that we'll be able to talk about today, is what actually works well and what we experience from a remote position, that we have some great test case and time under our belt to tell you kind of what works and what doesn't. So absolutely stick with us, and we'll cover those things. And then I'm finally going to share with you guys some of the tools that we use, some of the programs, and actually get into some examples. I'm going to share my screen so you don't have to look at me the whole time, and to share with you guys some of the things that we are using that you guys can also leverage. And all the tools that I'm going to show you today are either free or ultra inexpensive, which I think is very, very important. We don't want to, experiment with things right now that are real volatile, and I think that that's something that we can glean some stuff from. And of course, at the end, we're going to do some Q&A. So again, if you're just joining, welcome. It looks like we've got a number of folks, well over 100 here with us today. Again, please use the chat feature to ask any questions. But to kind of back up, just to give you guys a little bit of intro on, why, you guys should be coming and, listening to anything that this guy Chip might have to say. My experience working with brands extends back about 15 years. I went to Georgia Tech, studied mechanical engineering. So I was an engineer right out of school, but I always loved to design. I ended up getting cast on a show for HGTV about 15 years ago, and subsequently filmed over 600 episodes for DIY Network, HGTV, and other networks, lots of shows. That is really where I sunk my teeth into not only doing, well over 2,000 projects in the past 10 years, but doing them all over the country and internationally, not just for television, but privately as well, and figuring out how do I communicate with people that aren't right down the road from me? How do I craft a design process, a sales, relationship building, creative and execution oversight, all remotely? And it's not necessarily just intuitive to do that. There's things that work and there's things that don't. And that's a lot of where my experience comes from. Also, I've had the pleasure of working with some awesome brands, big national brands that I'm sure everybody's heard of, the Kohlers of the world, the Wolf Sub-Zeros, the Sherwin-Williams, the big insurance companies, Liberty Mutual, people like that, where we've done a tremendous amount of interactive crafting of understanding that consumer journey, what consumers are looking for, and they've done so many test cases and market research studies that I've been fortunate enough to sit creatively at the table with a lot of these different really smart folks and different agencies. And I've picked up on a lot of this type of stuff over the years, and it really crafts the way I even deal with direct into consumer folks. So again, that's kind of where I'm coming from. And I'm sitting at my computer, just like you guys, a lot, and trying to figure out how do I relate to my clients in such a way that's not insulting, that's not insensitive, but that's still incredibly proactive and exciting. And so that's what we're gonna focus on today. All right, so let's just kind of jump in and talk about the challenges. Obviously, FaceTime is the big killer, right? We're not getting a lot of folks, a lot of traffic coming into our showrooms. We're not getting a lot of face-to-face visit time with our clients. Maybe site visits are limited. Where I'm experiencing that too. But one thing that is vital is that you still have a human connection with these folks. Now, maybe you're like me and you're on Zoom like this way too many hours a day. I've been using Zoom for like 4 years, so it's kind of a common practice tool for me. But sometimes it's awkward for folks that maybe aren't used to doing screen share, aren't used to sitting in a chair trying to look at a video for a long period of time. One of the biggest things that I found to initially reach out to folks is having some type of personalized video that I send. And this could be a video text, this could be with an email newsletter, but it needs to be of your face addressing somebody by name and then sending it to them. I know I spend a lot of time on LinkedIn as well, and there's a lot of folks out there. I mean, there's both sides of the coin, right? There's people that don't necessarily want people like us to be selling all the time because they feel like it can be, well, this is an insensitive time to be calling up and asking people to buy things. Well, I don't necessarily 100% agree. There's tact, but then there's also value proposition for folks. People still need something. Brands need things, people need things. In fact, we are experiencing a residential building boom right now. People are renovating. They have design needs. They have construction needs right now. And if we can be a service to people, it is absolutely not insensitive. But we first must establish the basis and the playing field for each individual client separately. Not everyone is in the same position. So when we reach out to folks, by far, the best thing that we can do right now is reach out to everyone, but not selling first. Reach out with true concern to catch up with people, hear where they're at, and really have a humanistic sense of connection with them. And then the concept of, if there's anything I can do for you, that will naturally progress out of that conversation easily. And that's what I do every single day over the past month is doing that. And I've had extreme success doing that. But again, just an initial, just get your cell phone, say, hey, hey, Jim, I just want to call, check in on you and your family. This is me from XY, kitchen and bath showroom or whatever your business is. I just want to make sure you're okay. I'd love to catch up, hear what you're doing, and give yourself a period of time every day to be able to do that. In fact, I spend about 2 hours a day doing nothing but doing some of that follow-up cultivation, and I'm already seeing that return already, even in this climate. So I think that's something that's interesting. Next up, I'm going to talk to you guys about how we handle some of these interactions and some of the tools that we use, and some of them are actually creating interactive virtual versions of our products or our showrooms that we can share with our clients to be able to have a much more tactical and interesting interface to communicate with. It also gives us something else to send out to our customer base that's interesting, that they will be interested in, that gives us something to talk to and a reason for reaching out. As someone who's in sales, it's always a great idea to have something interesting besides just, hey, it's Chip, hoping to sell you something, right? I want to be able to send you something that is compelling, intriguing, and captivating, that is going to spur a conversation and get people talking. And then the true sales skill comes from listening and then converting on how we can help you with what you need. But having something that's interesting first is pretty much vital. Okay, before we jump into tools, is anybody else experiencing anything that I haven't brought to light? Does anybody feel like, you know what, this is, I hear what you're saying, Chip, this resonates a little bit, maybe for some people, but I'm experiencing something different. I want to give you guys just a few seconds to at least just put something in the chat here to say, hey, Chip, I might be experiencing something a little bit different. I want to make sure to cover those for you guys to make sure we get a great spectrum. While we're giving folks a chance to do that, let's jump into some of the tools that we're using. This is probably one of the more exciting things that I get to deal with. I'm a technology junkie. Like I said, that's where I started out. I love interactive. I love computer-generated content as well. It looks like Ali Kauza has given us a question. How do you deal with unresponsive leads and clients? Well, that's a great question. In fact, what I have, this is probably not the best way to do it, but since it's my laptop, I'm going to actually show you. I keep a board constantly of follow-up. You see this? So you can do this. I keep it digitally as well, but there's something about a physical presence of something so tactical as like a dry erase board or a piece of paper that's right beside your desk that allows you to go through systematically and make little notes on what your last conversation was. Now, there's automated tools for this. You can be very, very tactical with this and very analog, meaning just make some notes. Like I talked to Bob from them on this day. This was my last correspondence. This is what they're dealing with. Unresponsive clients, you have to kind of read where they're at. Oftentimes it's a lead time, it's a follow-up thing to where it's like, you know what, I probably don't need to reach back out to this guy for another, 3 weeks, or maybe it's 2 months, or maybe it's 6 months. But when you do and you read and you follow back up, it's very important that you remember in great detail exactly what the client was going through then, so you can establish that basis point and then you can move forward. But I do that with a very, very basic follow-up plan, and I make sure that everyone hears from me at least once a month. Even if I'm not selling anything, I want my name to come up. I get more sales just by the reminder of that I exist, and they're like, oh yeah, I was thinking about it. We have this, and now you're a path of least resistance. You're low-hanging fruit. I'm on the phone with you right now, or you're height of my inbox. Oftentimes that is absolutely where the most sales generation comes from, is who is at the top of these people's frame of mind at the moment. So unresponsive clients, this is also a place where you have the opportunity to provide a service that's not necessarily for hire. And as a salesperson, that's like, what are you talking about? I don't do things where I'm not, actively converting. What I'm doing a lot for folks right now is providing a service that they are in need of right now in direct response to establishing relationship in a very trustworthy place. So establish the type of service that you could provide someone that you would be willing to do that doesn't take much of your time at all, but leverages your expertise and true differentiation. An example, for me, I start out every single design relationship with an initial design consultation. I happen to be somewhat skilled at looking macroscopically at a design vision and being able to provide great iterative ideas that are super creative, accompanied by cost projections generally, and able to inspire, getting people excited early in the process. And typically, I mean, I'm still charging for these types of consults. In fact, I charge $1,000 for a virtual consult to every single person I ever work with, and then I credit that $1,000 towards an actual design plan. Whatever you feel like your price point or your level is, you can offer those things, even if it's at a discount, all the way down to almost nothing, in order to be able to sit with somebody just like this, which you can do virtually. I do about half of these virtually over screen share, and I'll show you how I do that as well. But that could absolutely be a way of taking an unresponsive client and getting them to the next level by eliminating that hurdle of that initial price point. That could be a great thing. All right, we got another question from Claudia. It says, how do we best connect with builder remodelers that may be experiencing supply chain concerns with their current line? 100%. This is something that I think, we'll get this into the Q&A because this is going to be a bit of a longer form answer, but that's a great question. I've got some insight there for you guys as well. Okay, I'm going to now transition into some of the tools and how are we going to connect and handle with people. Some creative solutions for, staying organized, doing outreach effectively, and then a lot of it is about staying excited during this time. There's a fine balance between being empathetic to your clients and being boring, right? Everybody is experiencing very similar things right now. I mean, if you're fortunate enough to have work, it might not have taken your legs out quite like some of the other people that are out there. And you being excited isn't necessarily insulting to somebody who is struggling. In fact, I get told by brands and by clients that it is my excitement about their product or their project that is the most contagious thing. If you're passionate and you're excited about this person's kitchen or this person's bath or this one product that you saw and whether they buy it or not, like it can be a cleansing toilet seat. I get jacked up excited about some of the technology in warming bolt-on toilet seats with bidet wands and cleansing functions and UV cleaning and foot warmers. And people are like, what? I would never go buy one of those. I was like, I wouldn't either, but I tried it. And it's literally like one of those things like you cannot live without if you've tried it. It's one of the most magical things ever. And I'm talking about a toilet seat, right? But it's that excitement that gets people riled up. And then we have a connection. And then you hear what their real need is, and then we can progress it down the line. Okay, so I'm going to start out kind of from a showroom perspective. One thing I'm doing a lot right now for different companies, brands, and individuals that have a physical showroom presence where it's difficult to get their clients in front of their physical products inside the door. And there's a lot of different solutions out there, but what I've probably done 10 or 11 of these for brands in the past 2 weeks. It's a lot, and we're turning them around really fast. We can go in, capture a showroom, and then turn this experience back over to the brand in like 24 to 48 hours with full tagging of products inside. So I'm going to show you guys what this looks like. I'm going to actually share my screen here so that you guys can see what's going on. And if for some reason you guys can't see my screen, let me know, even though I don't see the chat feature right at this moment. We're going to, maybe y'all can holler up and let me know. So this is an environment, so an example of a completely web-based interactive. So we go in, and we can actually, whoop, I don't know why that's breaking up. Let me reload this. Does that look funky to y'all? I don't know why that's being funky. Let's see here. Let's reload. Okay. Are we good? Everybody can see this okay? Okay, so what this is an actual capture of a showroom where you can walk in and straight from your smartphone, you can send out a link, you can embed this in your social media, you can attach this to an email and say, hey, client A, just wanted to send you, I know it's hard to get out right now, but check this out. You can actually walk and navigate around and check out some of the new product offerings that we have. And in fact, we can even just go right here, see it, go right to a product page, and we can even, if you have e-commerce capabilities, we can buy it. Or else I'd love to get up on a screen share with you and walk you through the showroom and talk to you about some of the products, right? Check out this, with this particular countertop option shown in XYZ, or this particular cabinetry detail that is super popular right now with this hinge detail. Let me take you to the product page. And then after we hang up today, feel free to continue to walk around the showroom and explore it. If you have any questions, you can tell me exactly what you're looking at and we can jump right back on there. So this is a really cool tool to be able to have a visual connection that's very ultra cost effective to create. Like I said, we do this all the time. Now, one other thing that's really nice about this particular interface is look what you can do. There's even things like measurement tools where I can come in here and say, how big is that thing really? You know, oh, it's 3'6", or how tall is it off the ground? You know, or how long is this leg, or how big is this whole entertainment space, right? We could say, oh, 10'7", awesome, that will work, right? So it allows the consumer, again, whether we're going through a period where people can't actually come to the showroom or not, this is an awesome tool for people to take your physical location and have an awesome talking point as well. Again, you can see the whole floor plan of different retail. So pretty cool, huh? I thought that this was awesome and definitely something worth sharing. All right, so I'm going to exit out of this one. Let's see, I'm going to real quickly, because let's see, there's the Q&A, there's the chat. Okay, cool. What type of data do you collect and track? Lead presentations, sales, etc. I track all of that stuff, actually. This is a really, it's really, really important to be in line with what your inbound leads are and a way to organize it. Now, I will be the first one to tell you that there is not a particular program or a certain database or CRM that is going to just be perfect for you and your business. I can say that because I've tried pretty much all of them. The best CRM and follow-up plan that you can actually invest in is just the one you're going to use. All of them do slightly different things, but from a data collection, tracking, and leads program, really, if you're in a constant search for the perfect one, you're going to continue to be in a constant search for the next one and the next one and the next one. I mean, if you don't even want to invest in one and you just want to use a glorified Excel spreadsheet, you can do that. I did that for years. It's actually quite effective. It just has to be the one that you use. All right, I'm going to answer Simon Phillips' question here in just a second. But this is actually another version of a store walkthrough, but this is just done at a little bit higher resolution, right? So you can actually see, I'm going to just zoom in, right? You can really see products here, right? Pretty cool. And you can use an inbound map to navigate to different spots in your showroom. And of course, you can have linkability to all of these. Again, just having some type of visual medium to be able to walk and talk through. And these are things like, even now, if you guys are interested in hearing more about these, I can certainly be a resource to help put you in the right direction on figuring out how to get one of these created quick, cost effectively, and implemented on your .coms or your social or just email. This is definitely something that we can do. All right, cool. Does anybody have particularly any questions about showroom interactives and how these could possibly be used as a conversion tool and something that's worthy of sending out to somebody as an initial conversation to say, hey, here's something cool to look at. This could possibly spur some conversation. While you guys are contemplating that, we will move forward with another example, but I hope I've made this clear with what some of these tools happen to be. All right, I'm going to close out of this. Moving on. Very good, very good. Okay, what do we want to talk about next? All right, I want to take a slight diversion and show you my process for how I create an interactive design consultation for a client. Oftentimes I set up a screen share on Zoom, just like we're on right now. And the cool thing about Zoom, if you haven't seen it, is you can even do things like annotate, right? So y'all see my screen now. I have this little annotation bar. I mean, we can write on screen. We can bring up pictures and draw on top of them right on screen, and create all kinds of different, shapes, sizes, and overlays to do as a visual reference right on screen. Of course, you can do things like text, insert note here, right? And then what I oftentimes do is I can either record this thing or just take a screen grab, right? And just save JPEGs right on the spot. This is a really, really effective way of creating lifetime information gathering, and you create all of your assets to be able to share back with your clients via email follow-up really, really easily and really quickly without having to do a lot of extra work after the fact. Okay, one of my most influential programs I use, honestly, is Sketchup. I mean, I'm proficient in AutoCAD, Revit, Rhino, Pro Engineer. All of these are programs that I've used and my team uses all the time. But on a day-to-day basis, for quick and interactive visualization of space planning, concept generation, and vision casting, I use SketchUp. Now, I use SketchUp Pro, which I pay for, but you can also use SketchUp Make, which is a free online program that has 90% of anything you'd ever want anyways, and it's completely free. And if you've never used it before, if you take nothing away from this talk today, you should download SketchUp and just watch a tutorial video. Even if you have no skills with 3D modeling, you can do SketchUp and it will change your workflow. I'm telling you, it will change your workflow. And I'll prove that here in just a second. All right, I'm gonna just quickly reference some of these questions because I love that you guys are interacting with me right now. This is great. Thank you for loving all my logo. I appreciate that. Logo design is the hardest stinking thing, I tell you. It looks like it's easy, but it took me forever. So Alyssa, thank you. I appreciate it. All right, do you have a recommendation for a company who sets up these visual showrooms? Daniel, yes, absolutely. In fact, I do these personally with my business as well. What I'm gonna do for you guys is I'm gonna type in my email into the chat function, but I'm also just going to stick it up right here for you guys for a second. Just if you're joining us, this might be a great time. There's probably a better way to do this, but if you just go to chip@wadeworkscreative.com, you can reach me. So just everybody take a second if you want to write that down. I'll share that again at the end. But for anybody that has a question about creating any of these virtual showrooms, this is definitely the place to be. Okay, all right, let's see, where else are we with some of these questions? Is there a virtual tour that could be done in the kitchen and bath industry where the showroom tile on flipboards? Yes, absolutely, Tara. Thank you for this question. Awesome. So I'm going to actually show you a version of actually what I've created that's very similar to this. Let me go in. I recently created a full interactive visualization platform for Dowtile Check this out. This is super cool. All right. Oops. I'm going to click here. I may have to reload this page too. I had it open for too long. Let's see. Is it going to let me do it? Yep, here we go. Okay. So what this is an extension of a computer generated showroom. Look at this, right? Where this is an awesome tool to be able to communicate visually about rooms that, yeah, I have them titled different design styles, but the average person, they think they know what contemporary is versus modern, but they don't, right? And they might, when you speak in a visual language, it really doesn't matter what the term is. All somebody has to say is, I like that kitchen, and I like that cabinet, that sink, and that chair, and that's awesome. And so when I created this, it was really intended to be a tool to be able to go in and say, okay, oh, I like this kitchen here, let's go in. And now we can click on this and actually have some options. So maybe you like a transitional style kitchen, but you know what, you just don't like dark cabinets, I want light cabinets. Okay, so let's go over here. And now we're actually creating an interactive that allows the consumer to answer a lot of the questions themselves with you being the hero, right? So now I can guide you through and have some of these assets already created, like a whole mood board with paint swatches, appliances, lighting. But here we're actually really looking at tile, right? So here's these tiles, but then we can come in and now we can do things like create full visualization that's curated, where we've actually, I find a lot of value in creating pairings of room scenes where all of your options, it's like you're designing with bumpers on, right? So it gives the consumer the ability to kind of play with different options. Like I only have to have countertops, flooring, and wall tile here. But imagine this, look at this. We can go countertop, maybe we'll pick this floor. Let's see. Connection's kind of slow, sorry. And then let's go to wall tile. Let's pick a backsplash. Look at that. Okay, cool, right? Now the cool thing of what I've done here is that every single wall tile, every single floor option, and every single countertop are going to go together no matter what you pick. So it gives the consumer the ability to kind of play around. And then of course a deliverable could be, look at this. Let's just save this output JPEG here. Look at this. They have everything they need right here. Okay, now this is definitely a little bit next level, but something to consider with, wow, preparation. And the magic of this isn't so much the specifics of the tool, but it's the fact that I can show you exactly what I want to show you and inspire you in a short period of time. And that's what's really important from a, you know, when you're sitting at your desk, aside from someone, is not having a lot of time searching through files and trying to, you know, oh, that's a cool thing, let me get back to you. But I can pull it up and be like, yep, this is awesome. This is exactly what I think you're talking about. What do you think about it? So creating a library, even if it's something as rudimentary as creating a Pinterest page where you're super familiar with it, where it's very, very curated in your own mind, where somebody has an idea, you can take a lot of these images and put it in front of them virtually very, very quickly and have an impact. Okay, before we run out of time, because I am definitely taking to a lot of time here on some of these examples, let me, and if you're asking questions, keep them coming. I'm going to address all of these in the Q&A at the end, because I just want to show you guys a few more examples of how I conduct a virtual consultation. So here, I'm going to show you an example of how I use Sketchup. This was actually a thing I did live time. I'm doing an appearance on Rachel Ray here in a couple of weeks. And this is a great example of how I actually am doing a live consult with their internal art direction people to be able to do a segment quickly to completely inspire what the concept is, pick products, and have a visual and tangible output to be able to share with people on the spot. So I actually did this in SketchUp, right? This took me about, I don't know, 15 minutes, right? And even if you're not proficient at it, say it took you 30 minutes, right? This is still lightning speed. And what we're able to do, even creating representative items like this, you know, multiple swing arm wall sconce. Well, this isn't the one I wanted, but this one is, right? So I basically creating a quick look and feel with stock content, but then being able to bring in things like this, then boom, take a screen capture, done, right? But being able to model something like this is super simple. So what I wanted to do is just to show you just how easy it is to come in here from scratch and do things like this right here, right? I mean, this is, I mean, I'm going to use very minimal tools to show you guys just how you can create a scene for someone. Right? Boom, right? All of these, I got a few things extra on my screen I wanted to get out of the way. Okay, so again, in SketchUp, are these the most photorealistic? Nope, absolutely not, but it doesn't matter, right? So we're going to, let's get a dropper. You can select any of these. I'll just kind of copy this over here. Whoop, maybe we want that. Maybe that's awful, right? And we want to pick this, right? So now we have floor, right? Maybe we want a wall color back here. It's super easy to do. Again, even if you have no idea what you're doing, right? Let's go, we can pick a boring gray, right? There you go. You're awesome. Now, we can, oftentimes what I do is design things like, maybe I want a 48-inch vanity, right? Like this, or then I can maybe pull this up to 30 inches. People are like, what is that? Well, it's a vanity. Let's just kind of get a little bit more information on there, right? So that's 48 inches tall. It's 30 inches high, right? And then, we can do things like, add a mirror, even maybe you want like an overhead light, maybe you want side sconces, maybe you want to represent them as squares instead, right? Maybe they're long, linear, cool things, right? But the interesting thing is we can quickly come in here and say, idea, right? Long side sconce, right? Interesting. And then again, even if the people do not have the opportunity to open a 3D model like this, even though there's free apps you can download on your smartphone and spin around the 3D model, you can send it, it blows people away. But just the idea to be able to design and lay things out really, really quickly in a short period of time is huge value. And it gives a purpose for doing it on the computer screen rather than doing it in person, because we'd just all be huddled around my computer doing this exact same thing if I came into your house, but I can do this very, very quickly. So anyways, pretty interesting. You can also do things, I do this a lot where I measure existing conditions, but then I can bring even things like this. I just screen captured, a floor plan, boom, right? Look at this, right? So this is a real client's floor plan. What I can do is scale it real quick, right? So I just brought in an image. I'm going to come in here and say, okay, look at this. That's the scale. That's 4 feet. No problem. Let's just grab this and grab this. And we're going to scale this whole drawing up to show you how to do it slow, I guess. All right, let's get this a little closer, right? All right, so that's approximately 4 feet, which again, for this is close enough, right? And even for your conversations with clients, it's close enough. So now you have a drawing that's actually to scale, and now you can do stuff like this, right? You want to talk about, okay, let's design out your home office, right? We've got this, this, this. I'm hoping this is inspiring you guys because anybody can do this, right? That's 6 inches, boom. Let's come up here. Now we got an 8-foot ceiling, right? We've got things we can now immediately start designing live for people, right? So let's do, maybe this is a kitchen, right? We come out 24 inches. Let's make a task wall, right? So let's come back up here. Now we got a 36-inch high countertop. Well, now this wall's in the way, no problem. Let's just pull this guy down just like this so we can get in here and we can play. And now we can do things like, okay, I envision a very symmetrical kitchen, right? Maybe this is our range, maybe we have a cabinet stack here, cool, right? And they're like, well, you know what, I gotta stop you right there, Chip. This is cool, but I do not want my kitchen cabinets on that wall. Be like, no problem. Let's just take this. I hear what you're saying. Let's adapt, right? So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna push this back down. I'm gonna leave this one here on the left because I wanna still be able to reference it. But now let's just do this again, right? Let's come over here. Now I'm gonna do a L shape because now that's what you told me you're thinking, right? And now let's just do this. And what happens at the end, what you have is side-by-side design comparison that's done in moments, right? For me, because I have proficiency in this program, this is something that I'm willing to provide somebody, which is a real value that somebody can take away, that I'm not afraid to give away a little bit of time to be able to really have a valuable export. Now, you can choose to give people this information or hold it yourself. But what this says, hey, client, I'm invested in you right now. Let's get some real thoughts. And if you can sell even things like design and overlay and direction right now, even before people are putting in orders, this is going to get you in your workflow and further down your pipeline with something that's incredibly valuable. So anyways, something interesting to consider. Let's see. What else did I have to share with you guys before? The last thing that I want to show y'all before we kind of break is also where technology is today as it relates to visualization. So what I wanted to do is actually show you guys some examples. Here is a room scene. So this is another thing that we happen to do as a company, but again, this is something that's, this is not so much saying, hey, this is what we can do. I wanted to show you guys this as this is what's out there and what is coming, and is not even out, you know, is not going to be out of reach even for the average brand, store, retail location, or even salesperson to be able to create or have created so cost effectively in live time that this is all computer generated. So this was done actually for a brand where they had appliances and they said, you know, Chip, we want to create a room scene to be aspirational. We created this completely from scratch digitally, you know, in about 48 hours, right? Super cost effectively, and it's photorealistic, like print-worthy, awesome architectural rendering. Everybody thinks that they've seen, you know, computer generated environments and they think they're great. But actually we're at the level and the time now with technology where we can create things at such a high level, it's virtually indistinguishable from reality. And when we're talking about home and lifestyle consumers, design is super important. Quality and a visual is super important, not just the fact that you made it on your computer. Maybe that's not good enough for really purchasing a product, but when we get it to this level, we can really start to see and show the consumer what they're buying. And that's something that is absolutely amazing. So I'll show you guys just a couple of other examples of some of the computer generated drawings that we're able to create. Really, really exciting stuff. Here's another that is just to show you kind of like a detail, right? Really, really pretty. Okay, well, I think we have maybe extended our my show. I could do this all day with you guys. I love this. I'm super passionate about, you know, showcasing technologies and ways that we can interface with our clients, our consumers and brands that we're trying to, you know, sell our services to, but doing it in such a way where we're providing such an overwhelming value and excitement to that client that it doesn't feel imposing to show them this stuff. This is exciting. Everybody I talk to and I bring up some of this stuff and I'm passionate about the things that I'm selling, it's not an offensive thing to be able to stay in constant communication and that personal relationship with these folks. Okay, so I'm gonna actually just pull some of this down and we will break back into kind of a Q&A section. I'm gonna kind of go back through where we left off. Okay, so we kind of left off with Sean Workman. Thank you again for that. I'm going to actually just break my screen. I'm gonna stop sharing my screen so y'all can see me again. I guess you maybe could have seen me the whole time, but we will go back to this. Let's see, what does, where was Sean? Sean, what kind of permissions are needed from suppliers of products to include them in my showroom presentation? Okay, well, some of this is different. In SketchUp, there is a warehouse that is free. You just click on, and so many people have modeled so many of, like, you can download a specific model of Kohler faucet and just plop it right in your model without having to model it yourself. So I didn't show that, but in that kind of Rachel Ray segment that I showed you, like that was a real Kohler Memoirs toilet in smoke, you know, then I was able to just download in 4 seconds, drag it into my model, and I didn't even have to model it. It's already to scale. It's awesome. So a lot of those programs like that, they're representative of product, their scale. But of course, if you're selling a product and putting it in a presentation, largely speaking, I do that all the time, so you shouldn't have too much problem there. Okay, from Alyssa, she says, do you include the furniture design suggestions with one design fee, or is that an upgrade for you? Okay, furniture and decor is always something I break off of my contract. So every single time, 100% of the time, what I found is that is the place where I switch to hourly. I very rarely, if ever, do a macroscopic holistic bid for FF&E. So I will do layout, architecturals, permit drawings, all of that. And basically general builder specifications, which what that means is if you went and bought a new house, what's included? Flooring, the appliances, countertops, likely the lighting. Those are the elements that I would include in my basic spec because that's controllable, understandable, and easily budgeted. Everything else, furniture, soft goods, decor, I never include. I always do that by the hour at your hourly rate. It protects you and it protects your client. Honestly, it's the most straightforward way that I can say to interact with your clients. They appreciate that. And I also use the term, hey guys, to my clients. I want you guys to hold the keys. You can meter how much of this you want to do yourself versus how much you need my help. And it also protects you because that's the one spot that's the black hole that always kind of spirals into something that is, people want to have infinite revisions and all these types of things. And it's really hard to go back and ask for more money. But if you're doing it by the hour, it's easy to tabulate that. And I found that's what keeps people happiest and above reproach all the way through the process, understanding that that's a hiccup point in the design process oftentimes, getting ahead of that, warning for it, preparing for it, and then having a solution for it always works out. Okay, Tara asked, is that floor plan capability only in Pro? Nope, I didn't use any proprietary tools. Everything I showed you today is available in the free version, as is about 100 times what I showed you. So even the whole 3D warehouse with the things, that's all free. Unless you're doing actual full architectural outputs to scale, you really don't even need Pro, and I wouldn't recommend it. Get great with the free version, and then the rest will take care of itself for sure. Again, that program was Google SketchUp Make, Amy Martin. That is awesome. Let me see. All right, I'm actually going to put that into here. Let's see. Google SketchUp, and the free version is SketchUp Make. I'm just typing this in the chat. More advanced is SketchUp Pro. Okay. The program, I think they were questioning, was the high-end renderings. Okay, Claudia, thanks. So the high-end renderings, that's a different level altogether. We use like 7 different programs. Oftentimes we start in 3ds, which is 3D Studio Max, but there's a lot of, that takes a completely different skill set right now, but we can still create those fairly quick and cost effectively. But that's not entry level. That's more pro version and pro skill set to be able to create those. What we're already doing though, Claudia, is we're also using live action rendering and gaming engines like Unreal and Unity, which is like, you know, what your kids are probably playing their PlayStation 3, you know, like those games, that's the live rendering worlds. Historically, those have been pretty cool, but the rendering quality is not all the way there. The rendering quality is getting so much better. We're actually starting to create some of these environments in those platforms. But again, this isn't something I'm really endorsing that you guys go out and try to do yourselves. Those high-end renderings, that's a different skill set, different technology, and not something that like a live render, like, hey guys, you know, send me your kitchen. I'm going to send you back this ultra high resolution version of my design, all included. We're not quite there yet from a rendering standpoint of what's cost effective. But again, this stuff is out there and it's getting more cost effective. And if you guys are more interested in that type of stuff, but it's definitely more advanced than SketchUp Pro. Yeah, SketchUp Pro will not render nor will Revit, nor will, you know, this is to get photorealism really for home category stuff is a different process. Okay. To do a virtual consult, Tara asks, would you have gone to them to do measurements first, or are you asking them for approximate measurements? I do both. If it's local, I can either send one of my guys out there, or I could go out there myself, or sometimes I will go and actually measure a certain room with a little laser meter or a tape measure. While I'm there, it takes like 10 minutes. I say, hey guys, give me 10 minutes, go check some emails. I'm gonna take a couple of measurements. I build the model right there and do it on the spot. Or what most of the time happens is I send someone out ahead of time. I have my model built in, and then we're able to go hit the ground running, even if I've never been there before. In fact, I use multiple services that are all over the country where I can hire a third party to go in, do all of my as-builds, take pictures of every single room, label them, do a full takeoff of every single window, size, location, door, size, and location, take a picture of every internal mechanical system, the serial number, and put it all in a report for me for like a few $100. Okay, so that's something that I include in my $1,000 consult fee as kind of like a loss, but it's such an awesome value to be able to provide that to your client. It's like a whole home audit almost. But then I have the full 3D model that I can import into SketchUp and start live with more information remotely on my computer screen than if I'd have just shown up to your house without a tape measure. Because we're live, we're going, and then we can go into that iterative design process really, really fast. So again, I can be a resource there for you guys as in addition. Okay, let's see. I'm reading a couple of these other Q&As. Yes, you need to invest in a gaming computer for this rendering tool. Brings your designs to the next level for sure. We use Chief Architect. Yeah, absolutely. But I will say Chief Architect also doesn't do it, not to that level. And again, I do not recommend you guys try to be designers or salespeople or retail people and also be the rendering people. Not a great idea. You're going to end up spinning your wheels, and your time is not going to be worth. It's going to be worth more trying to sell more rather than trying to figure out a whole different career. Which again, really next level designs is not something that is just automated. Okay, so I want to be real clear about that. But Chief Architect is another kind of version. If you can use that program really well, use it instead of SketchUp, but use it for what it is. Don't try to make a photorealistic rendering. Use it for space planning, space capture, and general concept iteration. Be able to do 3, 4, 5 different layouts in a quick period of time and be able to put them side by side for a client to be able to choose what they're resonating with. Again, time-sensitive information overload. Give it to the clients, let them sleep on it, digest it. Then when they come back to you, guaranteed you're going to be in a better place with fewer conversations. And you can spend your time selling other clients. That's going to be the magic for you. Okay, Sean Workman, let's see. Yeah, I said 2020 version 11 SketchUp. There's sometimes included in the software updates. You can bring in the color toilet into your 2020 bath rendering. Absolutely, you can. It's awesome. Again, the more you go down that rabbit hole, the more you're going to be impressed. And it's something, if you haven't done that, you should absolutely do it. Okay. Is there an awesome thing for takeoffs? Yeah, I mean, you can do takeoffs off of SketchUp, off of Chief Architect, off of any of these. And again, I like SketchUp because it's free and there's like no cost associated with it whatsoever. And you can do a lot of damage with it. In fact, I can afford to buy these programs. I have these programs and I still use Google SketchUp because it's fast. And I don't necessarily use it for things that I use it for the tool that it is, which is quick inspiration space planning. But that's step one all the time for all of my clients. That's the process we go through. So your workflow is important. Okay. Okay, Ali, how much time is too much time to spend on a design if you don't charge for a consultation preliminary design? Okay. The issue is how much time does it take you to actually provide a real value to your client? Okay. Now I could say, you know what, I could give away 30 minutes of my time or whatever. 3 hours is how much it takes me to be able to really hear what a client is telling me, model out different iterations that I feel like is a good faith, full holistic approach to giving them real options, but it's 3 hours. Anything under 3 hours, I feel like does not give my clients an actual output that is worth anything, right? It's just lip service. It's just fluff. But I charge for it, and I charge $1,000 for it. Now, I will tell you, you're like, whoo, people aren't gonna pay $1,000. Yes, they will. Or maybe your fee is $200 or $500 or $50. Whatever, you have to decide what you want your time to be worth and what your real skill set and value is. I mean, I charge $1,000 because when I'm sitting across from you on a computer screen, you have a licensed structural engineer, contractor, certified designer, and somebody that has an immense amount of experience doing thousands of renovations, soup to nuts, that can pretty much answer almost any question you got for me, from materials to otherwise. But that only comes from experience, right? So that correlates with my value. But what I do, again, if you're just now joining us or missed this, I credit that full consultation fee towards their design plan. So if they never go forward with a full service design plan, they still have a deliverable that was worth their $1,000, absolutely. Or it gets credited towards their overall design package. Because really, once I've done with the consult and they come back, the rest of the execution of the design package is easy. We're speaking the same language, we're on the same page, they're excited about a vision, and I have my general layout already done, right? So it's really a great thing that I found that works great for my internal workflow, that also is a value to our clients. And that every time, even if somebody was hesitant at the beginning to pull the trigger on it, I've never had somebody say that wasn't the best $1,000 I've ever spent. And that's a great thing to be able to share with other folks as well. Okay, looks like we got time for maybe one or two other questions before we wrap this up. Let's read this one from Rebecca. She is as a small business, she is the only sales and designer in the company. Very common, Rebecca, for sure. Who only carries cabinets, and I designed in 2020. Great. How do you suggest handling the balance between I'm calling to sell you something and I'm truly concerned about you, your family, and your home? It's all the order of operations. You are calling to sell them something, and you are truly concerned about their family and their home. The issue is, which one do you lead with? If you're really truly concerned about your family and their home, lead with this. And if there's an issue and you deduce from that conversation it is not the time to be selling them something, then you're not selling them something right now. You're still, you use your human tact to be able to decipher that. But Lord willing, you call them up and you're concerned, and everything's okay, they're doing fine, they're proactive, that's great, right? It might be the time to, then it might be the place for you to be able to present some of what you're working on right now. And again, that you're excited about. Don't offer anybody anything that you're not excited about, or your conversion rate's gonna be so low. Figure out what you're excited about, but listen to what they need. And it might be brainstorming, it might be figure out where they are in their cycle and try to laser focus and offer them a value of where they are today. And again, you're gonna hit people all over the board. But again, this is all filling your funnel. Don't feel as though your end goal only is to convert dollars today, right? This is still an investment time. It's an investment time for me too. And I have an established business, but my income changes as well. And again, so you have to understand that it's not just about converting the same type of leads and the same type of product purchasing and service purchasing as it was 3 months ago. It might be getting more people in the funnel and then preparing that for the future. So, okay, again, thank you guys so much for joining. I'm going to type in my email address as well into the chat again, just to refresh it. But again, y'all can reach me at chip@wadeworkscreative.com. And we can, I'd obviously love to be a resource for any of you guys that have questions on how to navigate these spaces. I definitely want to thank Wellborn and the team there for bringing me in. Obviously, what they're doing is exactly what I'm saying. They're investing in you guys to be able to help you guys meet you where you are. That's what we're doing today. I'm trying to help meet you guys where you are so that you can therefore be successful. And again, so thank you, Wellborn, for this, for caring so much about folks that you guys interact with. We are prayerful that all you guys and your families are doing well, and that we can push through this and be successful. But yes, we have to adapt. We have to be proactive, and we have to be excited. Have empathy, but lead with excitement. This is something that I think all of us can get behind and be successful with. So thank you guys so much. We will hopefully stay in contact, and best of luck to you all.